Hello and welcome. Right, I want to talk about the Saturnine box. This is a review, if you want to call it that, and I think that's the best way I can put it, because it's abominable. This is the worst box I think anyone could have released in this day and age of wargaming. The way wargaming is going at the moment, on the whole, if we ignore Games Workshop, is in a pretty good place. Most companies listen to what their fans want, and they acquiesce to what they can. We're getting some great stuff from Mantic. Their plastic's far better now. It's, in my opinion, better than the plastic that's in the Saturnine box. And this is me coming from the Assault of Exum and the Battle for the Cold Gate boxes, both Mantic, one Firefight, one Kings of War, building painting them. And so the Saturnine box is just in a terrible place as a box set. I'm going to just go through what everyone else is doing, and then I'm going to explain what makes the Saturnine box so bad. Right now, in wargaming, if you were to buy a starter set, you're going to get at least one army, one completely full army. You're going to get the rules, whether they're free to download or they're there in a simplified fashion. You're going to get that as well. You're going to get a way to play as well, again, using the models in the box. For a lot of places, but some you don't, just saying. But you, like Wild West Exodus, you get a nice little campaign book, which teaches you how to use the Union and the Enlightened from it. So you get all this cool stuff that gets you started into the game. You get some really cool models, get some fun things to build and paint and play with, and you can grow it from there. These aren't, and if you don't want to grow it, you still have armies you can legally use in tournaments, in games, and everything. So you're not going to be stuck with just the box. There is no reason for further purchases. And this is where the Horus Heresy Saturnine box fails. And I will be bringing up the combat forces as well afterwards. Because, again, things like the Mantic Army deals, the one-player sets from Conquest or Warbands, which I think are fantastic, especially if you play First Blood, the Posse boxes from Wild West Exodus, all highlight this major issue. So, the Saturnine box, in it, you get 20 troop choices. You can make 20 veterans out of it. You have Saturnine Praetor, Saturnine Terminators, the Rapier, the Dreadnought, and the Centurion. Now, this is where things just go off the rails, absolutely. Because, first things first, you cannot use all those models in one army. You cannot use half those models in one army because they're illegal armies. They cannot be used in Horus Heresy because of a force organization chart. You have 2 HQ choices, which means you have to choose between veterans, either with 2 of these, by the way, just 2. Veterans, Dreadnought, Terminators, Rapier. You have to make a choice. And if you want the veterans, you're going to have to make one a Praetor, because that's an Apex detachment, not an auxiliary detachment. So there you go. And if you take veterans with the Praetor, so you can't use, now you have to choose what your second one's going to be. It's going to be the Dreadnought, it's going to be the Terminators, it's going to be the Rapier. Which one are you going to choose? Because you can't use the rest. Then, see that, so maybe, you know what, I have a prime slot with a veteran squad. I'm going to use logistical benefits. That allows me another auxiliary detachment. Which one do I use with that one? Again, you're going to have to choose one more, and you're going to have to leave something on the bench. You cannot use it. Then you can take another logistical. But that's the thing. You shouldn't keep having to take the same prime advantage, whatever they call it. It's got some stupid name. Just to use the whole box. You can't. It's not right. You're not getting the full advantage of the rules if you have to use the same prime advantage for everything just to use everything in the box. You're losing out a lot. Now, there is something good out of this, kind of, slightly. It's complicated. And that is the introductory rules. Now, the introductory rules are actually pretty good. As a game, it's a lot of fun. It's when people say they played Horus Heresy and it was enjoyable, I think they're referring to this, because yeah, that is fun. That is enjoyable. It's actually really well written and really well done. It's basically Horus Heresy with all the bells and whistles taken away and stripped back to a very good game. And you could quite easily use those rules to play a bigger game as well, which is cool. And even in that box, even in those rules, they literally make a legal army. Like, what they use is they got the Praetor with the Terminators, right? Saturnine Praetor, right? Fair enough. But then they put veterans with the Centurion. The Centurion is just a command unit. That means you can't use veterans with him. But this is how it's going. Sorry about that. So, the only thing I can actually conclude from this is whoever decided to what goes in the box either didn't read the rules or they weren't written at that time. And they didn't know what was under what. Because if I was to say, if we didn't have an abysmal force organization chart, and it is abysmal, I know a lot of people say, but it's really good. No, it's not. It's awful. This would have actually worked as a good box. You have heavy support, you have elites, you don't have fast attack, which is kind of silly, but you have a very rounded box, okay? And it's not something I'm going to really say to you, because with the old force organization chart, the box is fine. Yet, with the new force organization chart, it's not legal. You cannot use it in its own army. And I can't even think what was going through Games Workshop's head when they went, do you know what would be a good idea? Let's put a box where we can't use all the models in one army. Or in two separate armies. Again, you cannot use them in two separate armies either. You're going to have to choose Vanguards or the Rapier, or you're going to have to choose the Terminators or the Dreadnought. You cannot have both. You have to choose one or the other. And then again, once again, with what they're demonstrating as how to play the game, isn't even legal either, because again, the Centurion is just a command unit and you need a high command to use veterans, which means you have to use a Praetor. Right. After all that, there's also the final problem with the box. Now, this is more of a nitpick rather than anything else. Everything else I think is completely major and important, right? This is more of a nitpick. It does feel like they want you to use Salamanders and Iron Warriors, or Iron Hands is a good viable option as well, because the Centurion is obviously a tech marine, okay? It's got that feel to it. It's got these, you can use them as an Iron Father quite easily within the Iron Hands. That is that sort of army, and that's what it's meant to be. I mean, you could use the other side for Imperial Fists as well, because they, nice decent siege engine and fortifying, nice heavy armor. But it doesn't feel like it's a box where you could use it for any legion. And they want you to very much use this for specific legions, and that's it. But that's just my nitpick. Now I want to talk about the combat forces. These are not great either, because they aren't even legal armies. It's like every box set they're bringing out for Horus Heresy is deliberately making you get more models, so it can be played, and that's it. Because in these boxes, you need at least 2 HQ choices for the Space Marine one. I'm just going to do the Space Marine one, okay? Because you have veterans in there again. Or is it heavy support? One of those two. But you have the extra support. You have the Dreadnought and Rhino and Troop choice. So you still need to get either Kit Bash, which I would definitely suggest, one unit to have your HQ, or buy more. You're going to have to buy a Praetor. You're going to have to buy a Centurion. And that's it. This whole idea of having to buy and purchase is absolutely disgusting to me. It's this idea that you cannot, you buy a starter set, that's what you should need to play the game from the start. And you should have to be able to play it from start to finish. Use every model in the box or every model for your army, and that's it. That should be all you should do. You shouldn't have to buy any other books or models just to make sure that you can field it legally in a game. So, after all this, because the last bit I need to mention, which I completely forgot, I've only just remembered. If you want to use Rapier and the Dreadnought, you still have to buy the Liber Astartes or Liber Hereticus to go with it. So, straight away, to use this box, you have to buy, minimum, you get the Centurion and Chaplain box, which is the cheapest, and the book. So that's almost an extra £70 on the box, plus the £200 for the box, £270 to be able to use. You have to spend £270 to use a £200 box. If I was to go to Firefight, I just buy the startup set and I'm done. If I want to play Wild Rift Exodus, I can just buy the starter set and I'm done. Or just buy a posse and get the bits as well. The dice and templates. Same with Conquest. Same with every other game that you can buy and play. You do not need to purchase anything else just to use the starter set. And it's disgusting. It's something that no one really picked up on with it. Everyone was just so angry with this false organisation. And this is one of the reasons. I mean, my daughter bought it for me, so I didn't buy it. Okay, in a roundabout way, it was my money, but my little girl wanted to spoil me, get my birthday present early. And so, that's it. And just to have this feeling where I feel like I'm being ripped off and I cannot use this army on its own is something I cannot get behind, and I won't get behind. And I think right now, if you're thinking of getting Saturnine, don't bother. Don't bother with combat forces. Don't bother with any of that. Just honestly, right now, go to one-page rules if you want to use your Games Workshop minis. If you want to play a better game, play Firefight. Go get the not the Assault of Exum. It's the one with the Enforcers, and I forgot the name. That box name. There's 3 now, so I apologise. Go and just go somewhere else at this point. If you're still getting Games Workshop with this sort of abysmal treatment of their customers, that you buy the starter set and that's not even a complete set, or that's not even usable as a standard army, not even half of it is, just go elsewhere now. It's not even worth your time for Horus Heresy. It's a shame. It really is. I think this is. I was going to put pictures up of it, but I don't really want to. I want to show off other games and other models before this, because when I'm talking about Horus Heresy, I just wish you buy something else. It's not a good box. It's an awful box. It's just not worth your money. Just don't bother. Again, that's all I can say. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a lovely day. I hope you have a good time. I hope you're all having a good time today. Sorry, I didn't say that at the start because this was just quite rolled up. And I'll see you all again in the next one. If you wish to save money on your wargaming, especially if you want to get some Mantic, get some more Wild West Exodus, get some good games like Conquest, which I would definitely advise, go down to Whaling Games down below with up to 20% off and free delivery after £20. And they have a point system which gives you an extra 1% off of everything in stock. They also do video games as well, and Lego. There's also Forbidden Planet, maybe like comics, DVDs, mangas, and all the cool stuff. And what else is there before we forget? There is my merchandise links in description. There's also Skyforge, good friend of mine. Never forget Skyforge. And finally, Patreon business, which I will update. Bye bye.